Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the nuts and bolts, the strategic architecture of procurement itself, the procurement operating model, or POM. Our mission here is to look beyond just negotiation tactics and really understand this organizational skeleton. How authority, governance, tech, how it all fits together.
Yeah, and that decision, how you actually structure that POM, it's fundamentally strategic. It's this constant balancing act, isn't it? Centralized control on one side versus decentralized flexibility on the other. Choosing the right model, well, it has huge implications for your priorities. Get it wrong, and things like spend visibility just disappear. Get it right, though, and you unlock some serious efficiency.
Absolutely. So let's maybe unpack the three main ways organizations tend to structure this, starting with, I guess, the most straightforward one, centralized procurement. This is where basically one central team handles pretty much all the purchasing for the entire company. The main goal here is consistency, right? And compliance, plus getting those cost efficiencies from volume discounts.
Exactly. And it tends to work really well for highly standardized stuff. Think IT equipment, maybe logistics, things where consistency is paramount. You see it a lot in manufacturing or government sectors.
But there's a catch, isn't there? I mean, for procurement pros listening, we've all seen this happen.
Oh, definitely. The big failure point often is, well, centralization can be slow, really slow.
Yeah.
And it requires a lot of sort of political muscle to make everyone stick to the rules.
So you gain that control, but maybe sacrifice responsiveness.
Precisely. Local teams, the business units, they often feel, disconnected. They feel the central team doesn't get their specific needs. And what happens? They just work around it.
Right, they start bypassing the process, leading to that dreaded shadow spend.
Exactly, which naturally pushes some organizations towards the complete opposite.
Decentralized procurement. Okay, so here, each business unit, or maybe even department, they just manage their own purchasing.
That's the idea. Maximum flexibility, autonomy, and speed. Decisions happen fast, right where the need is. It aligns really well with local suppliers, local market conditions.
Sounds great for speed. Faster decisions, local adaptability. Makes sense for maybe fast-moving industries, construction perhaps, or retail.
It can be, but that speed comes at a pretty steep price. You lose that leverage, those volume discounts are gone, your spend data gets completely fragmented.
So less visibility for the CPO.
Much less visibility, almost none at the enterprise level sometimes. And the compliance risk, it just shoots way up because everyone's doing their own thing.
Okay, so we have these two extremes. Centralized gives control but can be slow and bureaucratic. Decentralized is fast but messy, lacks visibility. Seems like neither's perfect.
And that's why most high-performing organizations, especially larger ones, end up somewhere in the middle. Which brings us to the hybrid model.
The hybrid model. So this isn't just splitting the difference, is it? It sounds more like a strategic choice itself.
It absolutely is. It's about strategically separating what gets controlled centrally versus what gets executed locally. You centralize the strategic stuff, but you keep the tactical execution close to the business units.
Okay, explain that a bit more. What's strategic versus tactical here?
Well, think of this center, setting the overall policy, maybe managing the core technology platform, handling the big strategic supplier relationships, negotiating master agreements.
Right, setting the framework.
Exactly. And then the local teams or business units, they handle the day-to-day sourcing, the purchase orders, managing local supplier relationships, all within that central framework.
So like a global company centralizing, say, negotiations for raw materials, but letting each plant source its own MRO supplies locally. Maybe using a shared e-procurement tool.
Precisely. That's a classic example. You get the benefits of central coordination and leverage, but you keep the agility needed at the local level.
That sounds like the best of both worlds, but making it work. How do you decide if hybrid is right? And critically, how do you draw those lines clearly?
That's the key question. It starts with understanding your organization's core value driver. Are you primarily pushing for cost efficiency above all else? Or is speed, innovation, local responsiveness more critical? If you compare the models, centralized and hybrid, both generally offer pretty good spend visibility, much better than decentralized. But hybrid gives you strong spend control without completely killing that local speed and autonomy.
So for complex, diverse organizations, hybrid often emerges as the most balanced approach.
Generally, yes. But implementing it well requires a few deliberate steps.
Okay, what are they?
First, you really need to assess your spend landscape. Which categories genuinely benefit from central consolidation? Which ones truly need local autonomy? You can't treat everything the same.
Makes sense. Second,
Second, evaluate stakeholder needs. Talk to the business units. How critical is speed for them? Is autonomy a nice to have or essential for them to hit their targets?
understand the internal customer, basically. And third,
And third, this is often the toughest bit. Define the governance structure. You need crystal clear rules. Who decides what? Where does central authority end and local authority begin? Ambiguity here is fatal.
that clarity sounds crucial, but maybe easier said than done.
It used to be much harder. But today, technology is the great enabler. Modern procurement platforms, they really help eliminate that old trade-off between central control and local flexibility.
How so?
Well, they can provide, say, a centralized dashboard for the CPO, showing overall spend, compliance metrics, enforcing policies. But at the same time, they allow local teams to configure things for their specific needs, execute their own purchases quickly, manage local catalogs.
So the tech supports both oversight and local execution.
Exactly. It helps turn procurement into this more adaptive ecosystem, balancing those competing demands in a way that just wasn't possible before.
So, wrapping this up, the main takeaway seems to be it's not really about picking centralized or decentralized off a shelf. It's about designing the structure, probably some form of hybrid for many, that best serves your specific business goals.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you. It's a procurement pro listening to consider. Connecting this to the bigger picture, often the hardest part isn't even rolling out the new tech platform. The real challenge, the thing that determines long-term success, is getting that governance right. Can you truly create clear, unambiguous lines that prevent turf wars and overlap between global strategy and local execution? That's something to really mull over. Is your current model truly sustainable in that regard?